Ready, go ahead.
Yeah, hi everybody, my name is Ben Gildy, and my social justice topic was whether or not social media should be regulated. So, social media is used by billions worldwide, and it shapes how we communicate, learn, and engage in society. It has both powerful benefits, such as connection and awareness, and also poses serious risks, such as misinformation and mental health concerns. So rather than arguing one correct side, my speech kind of explores different perspectives on whether regulation is necessary, and it also encourages understanding and dialogue. Start off, so we should understand the benefits of social media. So the first benefit would be kind of a connection to community. Social media connects people globally, and it reduces isolation. It also builds communities and supports networks across distances. There's also a civic engagement and social change aspect. Platforms help spread awareness of social justice movements, such as like activism, political engagement, and it also encourages civic participation and inclusivity. There's also mental health benefits. It can improve self-esteem and a sense of belonging when used positively. It also provides access to support groups and resources. Kind of like, I know the visual is kind of hard, but there was a study done by a bunch of teenagers in the UK, and they basically found that about 23% of all the people had a very positive experience with social media. So regulation could limit free expression and open communication. Some argue platforms are essential spaces for sharing ideas and should remain less restrictive. Now on the flip side, we gotta understand the risks. So there's a lot of misinformation and filter bubbles. Algorithms promote engaging and not necessarily accurate content. It leads to widespread misinformation and polarized viewpoints. And I can kind of see it with these pictures here. They all look very real. And it always gets me too on like Instagram, and especially in Reels, where it's like looks very real, and then all of a sudden it's find out it's AI. So a lot of misinformation, but there's also mental health concerns. There's linked to anxiety, depression, comparison, and isolation. It also can create pressure through unrealistic portrayals of life. As another study showed that, especially in teenagers, the more that we used social media, the higher percentage that were depressed. So that was very, very evident in that. So there's also addiction and harmful use. Can be very addictive. It can also lead to other harmful stimuli. There's also excessive use, kind of impacts our sleep, behavior, and our well-being overall. And there's also privacy and data concerns. So personal data is vulnerable to misuse and breaches, and it raises ethical concerns about how companies can handle our information. So the argument for regulation was it could protect us from harm, especially minors, and it could reduce misinformation and enforce accountability. So for the social justice perspective, there's like an equity issue. There's vulnerable populations where it's like youth, marginalized groups that are often more affected by harm. There's also like an access versus protection debate, where should our society prioritize open access or user protection? And so there's a kind of responsibility question where we should say like who should be responsible? Is it us, is it companies, or is it our government? So for a middle ground, the regulation doesn't have to be all or nothing. It could be, because some possible balanced approaches could be platform accountability, whether it's fact checking, transparency. There's also user education on media literacy. Maybe we incorporate some kind of classes or something to where we can say, okay, this is what happens when we use social media, how can we use this in a positive way? And it also could focus more on limited regulation that focuses on our harm prevention. So to conclude, social media is both beneficial and harmful. So what level of regulation protects users without limiting our freedom? I think that's kind of a tough question. And a lot of times freedom is a very, very flexible term. So the goal is to not win the debate, but to find the responsible, ethical ways to use and manage social media in our society and everyday lives. Thank you. And then my discussion questions would be, should apps control what we see, or should we decide? Is banning certain content protecting people, or is it limiting our freedom? And then what course of action should we take to combat this issue?
Next one.